In this video, we're going to talk about how to get into politics. It is easy to do. It's fun. If you've ever wondered how to do it, I'm going to tell you how. Stay with me because I got a lot to share. What we're going to cover in this video is basically 5 different things. How to volunteer, what you need to do, how you get the smarts, how you become an expert, and something else you should learn to do if you're going to get into politics. We'll save that for the final piece of this. Remember these words: go, do, join, volunteer. Now, it's very easy for me to say that. Go volunteer. That will get you involved in politics. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about where you volunteer. Number 1 is there are political party organizations in your community that are always looking for people who are willing to advance the cause of that political party, and they tend to support certain kinds of candidates. That is one place for you to volunteer. And now, why is that important to you? Because these are people who are already involved with politics, and you'll learn a lot by doing that. You can get involved with a candidate that you like. Look around your community. Look at who's running for what office that is of the party with which you're affiliated. Call them, call their headquarters, call the candidate if you want to, and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer and help in your campaign. It's not the only way. There are civic and community organizations in the community where you live, because they are everywhere in your country. Organizations that lift people up, that help people who need a helping hand. And it is another way to get involved with politics, because in some ways they're connected to the political apparatus. They get help from the government to sometimes take care of the people they're helping. And it's a good way to expose yourself to certain causes that those organizations are promoting in the community, because getting behind a cause is also another way to get involved in politics. The second point I would make about what you do after you volunteered for something that you enjoy doing, it's show up, keep the commitments that you make. Be quick to offer your help when you see a task that needs to be done. Get in the habit of showing up early and staying late, because why? Good volunteers and dependable volunteers are sometimes hard for candidates to find, and they're very hard for political organizations to find. Doing that, just making it a habit of keeping your commitments, keeping your word, will get you noticed very quickly, and you'll be surprised how quickly you can rise to the top. A couple of other things that I'll mention here is, after you volunteered and you're showing up on time, be absolutely selfless. Don't be afraid, or don't be upset if you're asked to empty the wastebaskets. Don't be upset if you're asked to run the copy machine. The people who volunteer who are absolutely selfless, always willing to throw themselves into a task that needs to be done, including setting up chairs for events, including sweeping the floor at the end of the day, including putting the empty pizza boxes in the trash after the pizza party, will also get you noticed. Now, there's one final thing here that is really important. Never be afraid to take some initiative. When you see a task that needs to be done, do it. When you see something else that could be done better and someone struggling with completing it, offer to help. There's one story I want to share here about a friend I once knew named Tim Russert. Tim grew up in Buffalo. He was the son of a man who picked up garbage for a living. And in 1976, he volunteered to help a man running for the United States Senate named Daniel Patrick Moynihan. Moynihan won that election. He noticed that Tim had been a very good volunteer, so he asked Tim to come work for him in his district office in Buffalo. 3 weeks after Tim started that job, Buffalo was hit with a massive snowstorm. Not just a typical Buffalo snowstorm. This shut down that entire region of New York State. Tim took some initiative. He was in touch with the White House. He was in touch with the federal authorities about getting snow trucks, help, equipment to make the airports go, to get the highways cleared. He also called Washington and said, I think you should send Senator Moynihan up here. When the senator got there on a plane that Russert had arranged, he faced a bank of cameras, did long interviews. He let everybody know he was there in this moment of disaster, on the spot, paying attention to it, and fighting for federal aid. As Moynihan was leaving, he looked at Russert and said, you're moving. Pack your bags, you're going to work for me in Washington. Within a short period of time, he became Moynihan's chief of staff. Tim ended up being the longest serving host of Meet the Press in Washington, D.C. before he died of a heart attack. Was he talented? Of course he was. Was he smart? Of course he was. But the one moment that was really important in his career was the day he took initiative, things that he just decided needed to be done. And that initiative was noticed by a United States Senator that made all the difference in his career. And what Tim did, you can do. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions about what I'm talking about, or if you have something to say, put it in the comments section. I do get back to people when they do. A couple of other things to cover here. You heard me say, get the smarts. Now, what does that mean? It's an easy way to ingratiate yourself inside a political campaign, inside a party, even inside a civic and charitable organization. Get the smarts means be the best informed person in the room. Before you go to work in the morning or before you show up, make sure you glance at the newspapers, make sure you're paying attention to what's happened in the world the day before. And if you really want to get fancy, in your spare time, read books about politics. Brief yourself on the candidates that are also running in this year, in the particular year where you're volunteering. Stay up with the news, and I can't tell you how invaluable the impression is. And I've got to say that you're going to run into, as you volunteer, people who are very important, people who could help you in your future endeavors in politics. The better informed you are, the more on top of things that you are, the greater the impression that you're going to make. And you never know, you just never know who you're going to run into who might be really impressed with your knowledge of affairs and your sagacity and ability, knowledge of history, or something going on in that community. It pays off in spades. Finally, you heard me say, become an expert. Now, what does that mean? Well, there are a lot of specialties in politics. One is if you just want to be a campaign staffer or a campaign consultant or a campaign manager. You know what? The body of knowledge that it takes to do everything in a political campaign, it's impossible for one person to know it all. So if you want to be a manager, become an expert at managing people. If your passion is social media, become an expert on how to use social media and how to promote a candidate on social media. And that includes how to do videos, because they're very important on some social media outlets. If you are a data person and you love numbers, become an expert on how you target certain pieces of the electorate and get a message to them in a cheap, inexpensive way. If you love words, well, I'll tell you something. All candidates sometimes need help with their words. They got a press conference coming or they're about to do an interview and they'll call you and say, I got to talk about this. How do you think I should word that? And if you've got a quick response, you're worth your weight in gold to that candidate. So all campaigns need specialists who do things especially well, and if you become an expert in that field, not only will you be able to get more involved with politics, somebody's going to put you on the payroll because you're too valuable not to be on their payroll. I'm going to mention one other thing, and this is in particular for you if getting involved with politics means that you someday want to be a candidate. Learn to give a speech. I can tell you on no uncertain terms that I have, through my 45 years in this profession and working in more than 400 campaigns, the fastest way to rise in politics is to be a dynamic, passionate speaker. Because if you are, with your words from a stage, you can change the way people feel. You can change the way they think. And when you affect their emotions, you make a permanent impression on people. When you've done a great job, you'll have people standing there and saying, you know what, we need to run you for something. It is one of the quickest ways to rise in politics. In the link below this video is a video you may want to watch. What you get out of volunteering in a political campaign.